I'm fighting covert gang stalking, and I don't know why it's so hard to get people to believe that with the evil that has been very prevalent in my life in that fashion. I really miss my people. I really miss who they were, who I thought they were. But I know that they could never miss me. But so, when you're fighting this covert gang stalking, and especially when it's been wrapped around your entire life, it's going to be really hard. So you have to fight it in a multi-layered strategy and way that you got to take about yourself. You're not just fighting the individuals, you're fighting system oppression, system abuses, exploitation, the silence, the dismantling of your life. So I want people to know that they're not completely powerless. Even though I feel completely powerless, I'm still out here trying to fight for breakthrough, blessings, and just being aware about it being a real thing is one thing, because these people want to move about their lives in this fashion, and it's not you. So what I'm ultimately trying to say there is that when people look at me, they don't see me for my original self. I don't even see me for my original self. I've had to compartmentalize myself to just pretend to be normal, basically. And most people don't understand that. So when you go around and you see other people that can enjoy their truck and trailer with their boat, their girl, this, that, and other, you just don't get that kind of life. So it really sucks. It really hurts. And then on top of it, with the trust that's been broken, it's not necessarily easy to just make new friends. That's what I'm trying to do. So, the first thing is just being aware about it being real, because it is very real. And it's hard to build around any kind of real value, real valuable life. But the first thing is that you have to document everything, even the tiniest stuff. It might seem minuscule to you at the time, but if you're only able to, if you're in a covert way, as I've explained with poisons, well, you're probably only going to be able to get out 17% of every 17th thought or something like that. So you really have to try and secure an archive in a way, a locked journal, encrypted, or even a hidden USB. Oh, excuse me one second, I'm making some soup. So these things can be really challenging to face alone, and especially when the groups that come up against you in this fashion are meaning to snake out your life. So they're not gonna. You have to put it into perspective that you've been hacked. They're trying to hijack your life. It's a slow erasure, spirit cooking. You have to look up these things if you don't believe me, but you got to log everything. Log their actions, log your symptoms, log interactions, the patterns. So, say in my case, every time that Jesse appeared, my symptoms, how they flared up, what they did to me, how my money disappears in the nick of time, or how I have to move differently. Now I'm not able to get to my own money, or what do I do? What do you do now? You have to document all this stuff. Write it down. And record it. Record. My advice is, if you can get streaming equipment, stream your life. If you can get it in 86 different directions in and out of your car, that's what you need to do. But most people don't see these things as true. So it really sucks because honestly, I would like my dreadlocks. I would like to be able to play my drums. I would like to go rollerblading. I don't want to be in the predicament that the aftermath has given me, and then when I go in, they're gaslighting me too. It's like it goes from worst to worst to worstest, and then it still gets worse. And people just don't even imagine that these things can even take place. So you have to write it down, is what I'm saying. You have to legitimately go in the depths of being able to not only discover what's happening to you, but speculate around each and every single issue until eventually, when you're, like a positive thought process, if you're in a positive thought process to escape the misery that they're creating, you'll find yourself that you're not speculating anymore. You'll find yourself really writing. So you can go in in a rant in your writing. You can just be angry, frustrated, confused, whatever. But you're writing, and it might not be until that second page or that third or fourth page that you'll be actually writing the truth out. So you wanna log your symptoms. Voice memos might help. Recording yourself, having a recording device with you. When you go about something happens, record it. Say what's happening, even if it's speculation, because these speculations can actually be what is happening. You see what I mean? You might not know it at the time, but you're jotting it down so that you can realize how your body reacts and how live commentary on these issues react and the strange events that happen, and that you have to somehow exist with. And so, obviously, it's more powerful than people think to be able to reason through a lot of this, especially with where I've come from and have to come up from. It's a covert poisoning where, say, just using one example with my ex, she would be covertly poisoning me, and I didn't realize these things until it was almost too late. And then they were moving about me as if like I was already dead. So it's like I gotta move differently now. I can't go home. I can't be in the car. I can't do anything without them knowing full ways to present a very danger in my life. And so what she would be doing then is then utilizing my behaviors or my reactions or what have you of the covert poisoning to literally try and shift my energy. Literally try and pull away from my energy to suggest this is who you are. It's the same thing. It's playing with your mind, your body, your spirit in a way that's to utilize these poisons to then push you off and say, look, see how he is? Look. So the second part is that you got to build evidence in a chain. Hold on. I personally like my soup really hot, so it's ready, it's done. I just want it to cook a little bit longer. Me personally, that's how I am. But what you want to do is create the evidence in a digital chain or in your notebook, or however you want to secure them. Create the digital trails, take screenshots, IP logs, app permissions, transaction histories, and especially with crypto, because my brother just snaked $4,000 from me in a preliminary hacking before moving me into this place. Well, moving me into a place before this that I wasn't even supposed to get to this point, if you ask me. But because if I was to take that Metamucil, I know what would have happened to me. I wouldn't have been able to make it to even pay to get a place or whatever. I don't know. You don't see these things until hindsight's 2020. You know, you're not in 2020 when you're being poisoned in the first place, and then they're like putting this stuff. You just don't feel right, so you're like, I'm just gonna fast. I'm not gonna do anything that these people are telling me to do. Obviously, if I were to take that stuff and it goes inside of your intestines and then it hardens up, you're gonna have a fucking heart attack. Your heart's gonna pop or stop, and that was the goal. So it's really disheartening because you might be praying for your people, you might be like involved in that kind of fashion with your spirituality or your religiosity, or however you want to look at it. You have a relationship with Christ, you have a relationship with the Lord. You feel things on a deeper level than most people are willing to suggest is even allowed for a person to have. They're like, oh, you don't trust the science and you're not taking your medication and blah blah blah. Well, yeah, like the problem that I had with metformin is that when I took it and I was being covertly poisoned that I didn't know about at the time, it was treating my body as if it was like I was gonna die, you guys. That's just all there is to it. If I kept taking it, it would have just created a smell like none other, and I would have been literally dying inside, and I felt it, and I'm like, I can't take this stuff. I went on to like a slow release form of metformin, and it was the same thing. It almost treated me worse. And I'm like, well, if these people aren't trying to help me discover like what's happening to me or what I'm going through, and like they have no idea what my life is like, and they're just like, oh, he's got a symptom, let's just put pills down his throat. It's just not the answer. So as far as medical gaslighting, the medical records, all that kind of stuff, you just want to keep a good folder of all of the symptoms and note what they are, note when they were ignored, note how they were ignored, and anything that aligns with the poisoning especially. You would like witness statements, even friends or family, co-workers, old jobs. I've written the past few jobs I've had. I haven't been able to get a hold of Pat. I think that he would actually write it out for me. At least a letter, but I can't get people to just write a freaking letter for me. So it's just, I don't know what to do. But you want to document old texts, old mentionings of the patterns, any kind of thing that's showing that you're not your normal self, and where it split off, where the compartmentalization happened, or where the duplicity happened for them to push you off. And then you want to make sure that the patterns that you're writing down are in the most most widened form. Like you can actually leave for speculation in there. You can actually leave for those, because you don't know what's going on. You're in a situation that's like, you for yourself feel like, I got to figure this out. You feel like you're in the twilight zone. Make the pattern about safety. One second. And that'll be done. Really hungry. Obviously, as you should know, I don't have what I used to have. So I haven't been eating properly, and thanks to my mother, I've been able to eat. She's broke. Now I feel bad. My brothers don't give a shit. I don't know. They might not want me dead, per se, but I think that with what the monstrosity is, that they just didn't want me to come into myself at all. So I believe that they needed me dead. I don't know. Yeah, they needed me dead. Oh gosh, it's so fucking hard to say. it's so hard to just deal with that fact to the heart, soul level. Like, I've been in very present dangers throughout my life. I feel that all these parts are my life. And it's them, it's their demons, it's them not wanting to do this kind of inner channeling work, their heart's work. So, anyway, you don't have to you don't have to scream everything all at once. If you can scream, it might be nice. I personally can't. Um, it 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 will make me, I don't know. I think that there's something in my body that the medical system is just not wanting to determine, because they I don't know what the answer is there, but it just doesn't seem like they're anything more than the same paid, bribed, whatever people that are also needing me dead. And mind you, I could sue Unity Hospital. I could sue. Um, there's many avenues that, like, if a lawyer was like really looking at my case, they'd be like, holy shit, let's help this guy. But where are they? We're in systemic issues throughout all over America right now, and nobody wants to look at it. And the people that seemingly have the ability to look at it are also like paid to not look at it, or that's how it seems. So you want to create a story based on your online exposure with what you're writing. Even if you have to create an alias, it's a good idea that you can go out in a way that isn't showing your face, isn't showing who you are, but just talking about the systemic crimes. Because when you're talking about the systemic crimes, it's a lot easier for the people that are around you and these people not to see that, and then you're not going to get any support. Whereas if you're an alias and you have an unknown face and you're just coming out, then people talk. So, this is done. One second, you guys. I'll be right there. So, it's a lot of a proxy war, gangstalking, organized crime, targeted individual type of stuff that people can look up to realize what's happening. And it's a part of a larger systemic issue that needs it needs the exploitation of, or to be exploited. The trafficking of, like, their ability to really come against a person. So, to avoid algorithms and retaliation online and systemic, like, censorship, you have to use some coded language here and there. Be unique, be creative, allow people to think that I don't know how to say that, but allow people to think that there are red flags to be determined here, where you have to avoid the algorithm that's out there, or just you're going to be retaliated against for suggesting to these things, which is what happened to me. That's why my story disappeared. That's why my hacker friend at the time didn't know he was the hacker, but took that story out. But it made me question, it made me question those very things. And then I was pushed off into homelessness, and that was like, I don't know what year that was, a long while back. And I believe at that time, if I was able to have my story, have my journal, have everything that I had, and been moving how I was moving, I would have been able to discover it then, not many years after. So it's just sad, and I believe that these are the very reasons that they needed me dead as well. Because now I'm trying to grow out here to reach influencers, reach supporters, writing Trump, writing Andrew Tate, writing Tristan Tate, all these other people that I got to know within the real world. And I'm glad I was in the real world, because if I didn't do that, and lo and behold, I didn't make what I wanted to make because I couldn't think straight, obviously. And I was not left alone to do anything with my natural life. So why would they leave me alone to try and grow, do anything within what they're teaching you within the real world? So my main focus at that time was getting out of the present danger. It took me about 2 months to even get to a point of being able to log out of the real world completely, stop the payments. But I needed to, because it was just constant pressures. That was their mission, to mix me up in my focus, to take me off of being able to reach out, talk to people, do anything with my time and energy that didn't have to deal with fighting them. And so you're going to have to focus on how you can message, where you can message. Hopefully you're going to be not begging, but literally like just letting people know the devastation that you are actually in. Try and take a concerned effort towards how you put your words together and the words that you're using, so that you can actually make people hopefully see that it's something real, not you're a schizo, you're depressed, you have anxiety, you need pills, you need to be thrown off into an institution, blah, blah, blah. Because that's what these people want. Anything that's going to take away your time and energy away from who you would otherwise be is exactly what Gangstalking does. It takes your energy away from your work, takes your energy away from realizing things in your work or in your grind, for your day-to-day. And then you have to draft it together and try and create it to be something specific in a way, which is why I started doing what I call heart work with the Lord. And so when I was in that state of mentality, say falling to the ground at Pat's, for an example, after he just tore off, and I was all alone there, and it was scary, because you don't really reason like, oh, I'm going to call 911. You just deal with it and think like, I need to be here for this money. Lord, protect me. I don't know how this is happening to me right now, and you just don't reason through it well. If it's an arsenic poisoning, you're not going to reason through it well. So I'm drafting in this kind of way for my own heart's work vision, my own heart's work playground, because when I would be going through that day, then I would be dealing with a lot of symptoms and a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to actually bring up verbatim, because I have to work. And I had to work, right? And so I was sitting there, I got so much done. I believe that I fell to the ground again. It was very like I was gonna, like, I don't know if you can feel like your lips and you're just so dehydrated that it's not a normal dehydration. It's like legitimately, you'd know your own stamina there. Normally, if I was just dehydrated, normally I would be able to walk up that hill to the water and get water. Well, that's not how it happened for me. I was legitimately having to crawl to the water. And I didn't know if I was going to make it out alive. So when he had come to pick me up, I had very much the memory of the stipulation that I was in, because I was asking God verbatim, hold on to this thought and this memory for me, because if I was in my past before then and these things happened to me, I didn't really carry that memory. And then you're in a situation where it's very Stockholm syndrome, and you're bringing the information right to the hacker. You're telling him exactly how to move on your life then. And so anybody who's your friend in the first place is going to stick it out with you. They're not going to be a type of person you're not going to have to beg for that kind of attention. That's what I'm saying. And so yeah, anybody that I have had to talk to, or anyone that was like my best friend in the past, I believe that these people are murdered now in a very strategic fashion, where the culprits of the murder get away with it. You see what I mean? And it makes sense too, to the fact that, when there's this kind of thing happening, people die, it's just sudden death on that obituary. It's not explained like, there was this big doppelganger crew that was targeting this individual, and they put they did this and that and the other to him, and then this and that hadn't happened to him, and then all of a sudden they're just running for their life and they don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get the actual story, is what I'm saying. And so that's why I've been suggesting, like, for a long time, can anybody help me get streaming equipment? Because I would like to be able to better myself. I would like to go out and rollerblade. I would like to train. I would like to get back to my drumming. But I would like to also be recorded, and I would also like to have a support system that wanted to see that growth. And then not only that, but not the same people that I wanted to actually help through like a mission, because I believe that mission would have already transpired. I wholeheartedly believe my mom wouldn't have to work. My mom wouldn't have to have any worries. My sister wouldn't have to work and not have any worries. And I honestly think that my brothers would be included, even if they were like working that way. So maybe it happened for a reason, but I don't know. I just don't want to die that way. I don't want to go out that way, and neither would anybody else. So I guess that's why I'm coming out here, because I'm trying to build a faith-based, rooted mission that is a movement and a mission, and that the movement itself moves. Like, one of Andrew Tate's cars. It moves. Not my car. My car was gamed up to whatever. My whole life has been gamed up. Come in my place doesn't look like my place. You come and look at my face doesn't look like my face. It is my face, but it's not the face I would have been wearing having been organically myself. So I guess I want people to understand that. Anyway, I'm going to eat. There's a couple parts that I have to get through yet, and I'll come back to it. Thanks for being here. Peace.